Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down one of the most essential and maybe one of the most misunderstood skills in writing, the art of paraphrasing. Because it's about so much more than just avoiding plagiarism. It's about proving you actually understand what you're writing about. Okay, so let's just dive right in with an example. On the left, you've got the original source text. On the right, a student's attempt at a paraphrase. Now take a close look. They've swapped out a few words here and there, used to be becomes in the past, but the sentence structure, the core phrases, they're basically a mirror image. So you see that, and the million-dollar question just pops right into your head, doesn't it? Is this plagiarism? I mean, even if they cite the source, have they changed it enough? This is that tricky gray area where so many well-meaning writers get into trouble. And that uncertainty, well, it gets to the very heart of the paraphrasing problem. The truth is, a lot of writers, and especially people writing in a language that isn't their first, really struggle to do this well. It often leads to unintentional plagiarism simply because they're afraid of messing up the original meaning, or they feel like they just don't have the words to say it differently. Yeah, and there's a name for that kind of paraphrase we just saw. It's called a near copy. It's a really common but super risky strategy where you basically just change a few words but keep the original sentence's skeleton intact. This doesn't show that you understand the idea, and frankly, it's exactly the kind of thing that plagiarism detection software is built to find. So, to stay out of that trap, we have got to get crystal clear on what good paraphrasing actually is, and, just as important, what it is definitely not. Look, it is not a game of find and replace with a thesaurus. True paraphrasing is about completely digesting an idea, really chewing on it, and then explaining it in your own voice, using your own sentence structures. It's a total reboot of the information, and that's what proves you've really grasped it. And this chart here, it lays it out perfectly. When you quote, you're using the author's exact words, word for word. When you summarize, you're using your own words, sure, but you're also cutting it down to just the main ideas. Paraphrasing is this unique sweet spot in the middle. It's your own words, but you keep all the details, and the length is pretty much the same. All right, enough with the theory. Let's get practical. It's time to build your toolkit with some actual concrete techniques you can start using right away to really transform a source text. And we're going to organize these tools into 3 different levels. Think of it like leveling up your skills. We'll start with the basics at the word level, then move up to sentence level changes, and finally, we'll get into the most advanced stuff at the idea level. So, level 1, the word level. This is your starting point. The 2 big moves here are using synonyms, different words with similar meanings, and changing word forms. So, for instance, the noun phrase culture and history could become the adjectives cultural and historical. It's a simple shift, but it's the first step toward making the language your own. Okay, level 2, the sentence level. Now this is where you can start to make some really significant changes. You can completely flip the structure, maybe going from an active voice to a passive one, or you could take a couple of short, choppy sentences and combine them into one smooth, complex sentence, or do the opposite, break a long one down. All right, ready for level 3? This is a pro-level technique. It's called grammatical metaphor, and it is a seriously powerful way to completely repackage an idea. This is what really signals sophisticated academic-style writing. Just look at this in action. On the left, we've got a simple statement. Children consume. The action is a verb, right? Now look at the right. That action, consume, has been transformed into a thing, a noun. The overconsumption. You've just packaged that whole process into a single concept that you can now discuss and analyze. That is a power move. Of course, even with all the right tools in your toolkit, let's be honest, this stuff is hard. It's really important to know about the common hurdles that writers face, because just knowing what they are is the first step to jumping over them. Yeah, research points to a few big ones. A lot of us worry that our vocabulary isn't big enough to find good synonyms. Then there's that very real fear that we're going to accidentally twist the author's original meaning. And probably the biggest one of all is just that nagging question, have I changed this enough? And what's really fascinating is how these challenges play out. This chart shows data from a key study that found non-native English speakers tend to produce more of those near copies we talked about, while native speakers produce more substantial revisions. And listen, this isn't about ability. It's all about confidence and deep familiarity with the nuances of the language. So here's the crucial point. We need to shift our entire mindset about why we're even doing this. paraphrasing isn't some mechanical chore you have to do to avoid getting flagged for plagiarism. It's something much, much bigger than that. And this quote it gets to the very heart of it. Paraphrasing isn't just knowledge telling, where you're basically just reporting the facts. No, it's about knowledge transforming. It's a process where you actively wrestle with ideas, you make sense of them, and you use them to build your own argument and create new meaning. And when you start to see it that way, paraphrasing becomes this incredible power skill. It demonstrates a deep understanding in a way a direct quote never can. It lets you seamlessly weave evidence into your own story. And maybe most important of all, it's how you practice and develop your own unique authorial voice. Because really, at the end of the day, that's the whole point. Mastering this skill isn't about mimicking other people. It's about learning how to use other voices, other research, to make your own voice stronger, clearer, and more impactful. It's how you earn your seat at the table in the great big conversation of ideas. So, as you move forward, the question isn't just about how to paraphrase correctly. The real question is, how are you going to use this powerful skill to engage with ideas, to build your arguments, and to make your unique voice heard?